A mother of 7 with number 8 on the way starts a toffee business.
It was just a fun thing that might bring in some extra money at the holidays.
Her husband loses his job, and the family is suddenly dependent on the new business.
What are my options? Do the whole groveling in front of somebody 10 years younger than me. I was tired of doing that.
Money is tight, and they need help.
We were looking for money for a new business that had to completely support our family.
There have been many times we could have just stopped.
When baby makes 10, will homemade toffee buy what puts this family on its financial feet?
Give me one bag.
This is Recipe for Success. I'm Eric McClendon. Don and Laura Ross are launching a toffee business from their home in Washington, Pennsylvania. They're the parents of 7 children, with 1 more on the way. The business was a way for Laura to earn a little extra money on the side. But when Don loses his job, the side business becomes a whole lot more. After all, 8 children will soon be counting on it.
It's from 6 until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And even then, sometimes everything doesn't get done because we're doing it all.
And she isn't kidding. Don and Laura Ross are making, packing, shipping,
How many we have today? I don't even know. 12?
and marketing toffee for the Toffee House, their homemade business.
Do your math, John Paul.
Is that what I'm supposed to do? I gotta wash that tray? You gonna be the foreman today?
And they're also raising 7 kids. Matthew, age 10, Maria, 9, Angie, 7, John Paul, 6, Katie, 4, Tommy, 3, and Emma, 15 months. Baby number 8 is on the way.
There, you're gonna fall. You're on a folding chair. Don't fall. Knock it off.
A large family seems a natural for Don and Laura. He's one of 7, she's one of 10, but running a business wasn't something they planned.
We got married in 1989. Since Matthew was born, I've been at home with the kids. That is a big... No.
Don, a former Marine, worked as a software engineer, while Laura raised their growing family and enjoyed a hobby, baking, something she learned from her mom while growing up in Pittsburgh.
Laura loves baking, and she would give out gifts. And one year she found a recipe for toffee. So she baked her normal cookies that are fantastic, by the way, but she put the toffee in. Some people started calling her back and thanking her for the box, but especially the toffee.
Inspired a few months later, in March of 2002, Laura decided to turn the toffee into a small home-based business to make extra income for the large family.
This is the beginning of it all.
It was going to be pretty much seasonal, so it would just be really in the fall. And I had planned to do craft shows, so maybe to do 1 a month from September through December.
Hi, it's almond English toffee.
I did it with pans that I had, measuring cups I had. I might have gone out and bought a couple baking pans, but there was really no cost. It was just a fun, thing that might bring in some extra money at the holidays.
But that meant finding people who would love her toffee enough to buy it. With no marketing experience or advertising budget, Laura came up with an unusual way to find those customers: craft fairs.
I guess that's where we kind of thought, where can we get out that we can get people to taste this?
Ladies like to try some almond English toffee?
We figured that was a good way. We have people come to these fairs, we can hand out samples, they can taste it.
Craft shows are also inexpensive. Booths at smaller shows can cost as little as $200 for a weekend.
My husband and I make it out of our home.
Going into their first show, they felt they had something special, a high-end, delicious toffee. But when the day arrived, she and Don had no idea what to expect.
So we handed out samples, and
It's divine. Oh, that's very good.
some people just went nuts over it.
It's very good, very tasty. I like it.
That's really, really good toffee.
The business's first weekend brings in almost $1,200. They are thrilled.
Thank you very much.
Laura is so encouraged, she applies to a local bank for a $40,000 business loan so she can buy the supplies and equipment necessary to do more fairs. But the excitement comes to an abrupt end when Don gets some bad news.
That was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. On Monday, he was called by his boss's secretary saying she needs to see you Tuesday morning.
Just 2 days after the official launch of Laura's business, Don is laid off from his job as a software engineer. The family of 9 loses Don's $56,000 a year income.
My options are I go and I try to prove myself to another person and, do the whole looking for a job, groveling in front of, somebody 10 years younger than me. And to be honest, I was tired of doing that.
Together, he and Laura decide to take a huge risk, turning Toffee into a family affair.
We've got 6 months of unemployment that can get us through while we build. If this is going to work, that's when it's going to happen.
But that decision puts the business loan Laura applied for in jeopardy.
That put us in a completely different arena because we were looking for money for a new business that had to completely support our family.
The Rosses consider pulling in nearly $1,200 over a weekend a success. But one successful weekend will not pay for 8 college funds. Don and Laura need a loan quickly to build their business.
We were looking for money for a new business that had to completely support our family.
The Toffee business that will support their soon-to-be family of 10. But their most immediate need is cash. But getting a loan is problematic.
Probably the zoning.
I gotta do this.
We're naive because you have school.
Laura has an application in for a loan to expand Toffee House, which is supposed to be a side business. But once Don loses his job, the bank turns their loan request down.
They referred us over to a group called Washington County Community Economic Development. And they're for things like us, I guess, hardship cases.
The program provides small business administration loans. And after Laura and Don carefully adjust their numbers from their original $40,000 estimate, they ask for and get a $20,000 loan.
So we need sugar loaf.
It was just the issue of having to buy all the ingredients, all the packaging, all of that in August and September, but not doing the shows till October, November, December.
With no money coming in except for Don's $450 unemployment check, life gets stressful.
Katie.
The family is forced to turn to Don's mom for a $6,000 short-term loan.
I told her, if you loan it to us in August, we'll pay you back in December.
There is some good news. Unlike many other areas in the country, Washington County, Pennsylvania does not require a commercial kitchen for a food business. The only stipulations are the home kitchen get an inspection, they wear hats when working with food, and the family not have pets.
We had the Department of Agriculture come in, and they come and inspect your kitchen and give you the license to be able to make the food in your home.
Another plus is Don's background as a software engineer. He's able to create a website with online ordering for the Toffee House.
Taught myself web design, and a lot of it was just going on websites, looking at websites, going on websites that taught about website design.
And Laura, who studied accounting in college, is able to do the books. Though it means they can do much of the work themselves, it also means they're always working.
You only have to work half days when you have your own business. You get to choose which 12 hours you work.
And there's a bigger obstacle. With no formal candy-making training, they have no idea how to make toffee in large batches, and their entire family is dependent on whether they figure it out.
We don't even understand all the things that go into the toffee. That's why we have such problems when you try to increase the batch, because we don't really know. We have to learn.
Although toffee has only 2 basic ingredients, butter and sugar, expanding a home recipe to a large batch recipe without jeopardizing the flavor is not as simple as it sounds. Batch after batch of valuable ingredients get tossed as they try to get it just right.
That's the thing with toffee, is that you want that cooked caramel flavor, but you don't want it scorched. But that difference is so close between the two that it takes some time to figure it out.
It quickly becomes Don's job to find the right formula. He slowly increases the batch to 27 pounds of toffee, and along the way discovers a secret they can't share, which gives the toffee a melt-in-your-mouth feel. Don adds sliced almonds for texture and waits until the candy reaches the golden color of toffee. Then it's ready to pour.
This is really heavy. I mean, this is a stainless steel pan, and you've got, another 16 to 20 pounds of butter and sugar in here.
The dining room table becomes the workstation. Don pours the heavy pots of 300-degree toffee onto cookie sheets, with Laura following behind to even out the trays.
This is kind of a dangerous stage, because this stuff is mighty hot.
It's not something they want to do with 7 children around. So Don and Laura start making toffee at 6 in the morning, before the kids are up, and the toffee table turns into a breakfast table. To add to their already hectic domestic scene, Don and Laura homeschool their children.
What is that?
Crab.
Yep.
Normally what will happen is Laura will go up and do school with them, and I'll stay down and do whatever needs to be done for the business.
But homeschooling adds pressure to the already busy Ross family life.
What's the sound?
And the non-stop pace
Almond English toffee.
Almond English toffee.
has them questioning whether they can keep up.
There have been many times we could have just stopped.
Don and Laura have to prepare for an important round of craft shows, which means a lot of extra cooking and a lot of extra packing.
There's days where it's really hard, and by the end of the day, I just, I need a new day.
Don and Laura are tired and stretched to the limit, but they have to increase production of their toffee so that they can be ready for the busy fall craft fair schedule. With nowhere to turn, they look to family for help.
There's days where it's really hard, and by the end of the day, I just, I need a new day.
The stress of starting a home-based business and raising 7 children takes its toll. Don and Laura need help. While friends and family are there to pitch in, it's Laura's older sister Nancy, a homemaker who lives nearby, who becomes their first employee at $12.50 an hour.
I'll help them with the kids, with breakfast, packing the toffee, breaking it, taking orders, just whatever needs to be done.
Despite the help, children are always underfoot, even while Laura is adding extra touches, like spreading milk chocolate over the candy, adding walnuts, and drizzling white and dark chocolate on top. It's very labor-intensive, especially when it comes to the chocolate, which requires tempering, a process which makes the chocolate perfect for candy making. But it's time Laura and Don don't have.
I probably would be hand tempering the chocolate on the stove for 4 to 6 hours.
They decide to invest in a machine that can temper chocolate in 10-pound batches, reducing the hours-long process to minutes. Searching the internet, they find a reconditioned one for $760. New, it would have cost about $1,000. But even with the changes they've made, they can't keep up. During the busy fall season, they make nearly 240 pounds of toffee, 9 full batches, and it can take the whole day. Even the kids are recruited to help.
There's 24 tins in a box, so we pay them $0.25 a box to help us, and then after about 2 or 3 boxes, we pay them $0.25 a box not to help us.
The craft shows and the website keep them going. They sell just over $29,000 in their first year.
Have you tried it?
No.
With sales and a home equity loan, they are able to pay back Don's mother her $6,000 and the $20,000 SBA loan. But the business is the family's only income. To build a future, they have to expand. And that means more craft shows, ones that are more than a day's drive from their home.
If every time you do it, you've got to think, okay, well, what do I have to bring? And that gets exhausting mentally and physically.
It requires military precision to pack their 15-passenger van, a challenge even for a former Marine.
Laura pretty much determines, based on the previous shows, how much toffee to bring.
And that's especially important once the holiday fairs start.
We'll be at a craft show every weekend from mid-September on to the first week of December. Almond English toffee.
That's usually about 25 shows during the fall season.
It's almond English toffee.
The fairs bring in 40% of their overall sales and generate another 35% in phone and internet sales.
We do mail order and we have a website.
The prep requires all hands on deck.
Almond English toffee, I can handle that.
We make 40,000 individually wrapped samples for the fall shows.
And those samples are giveaways, and that requires money. In their second year, they get a $10,000 SBA line of credit to help them get supplies. But it puts more than financial pressure on the couple. It means one person, usually Laura, is home with the kids while Don hits the road alone.
It's almond English toffee, almond English toffee, almond English toffee. And it's kind of like a Heath bar, but a little softer. You're welcome.
Real good.
Give me one back.
Now put a brochure in. We do mail order and we have a website. As the sales go, I can see, okay, well, this day we've paid for the room. These are solid milk chocolate with bits of that toffee in it. Or this day we paid for the room and travel. You know, so you gauge it that way, and then you look at the profit after that.
I'll give this a sample. We may come back this way.
Oh, my guess is you will. There have been shows where we've just gotten just above breaking even. But then there's other shows where we've brought in a few $1,000s after breaking even.
What's that?
It's almond English toffee. We've gotten contacts through businesses. We've gotten contacts to where we got put in magazines and in newspapers just by being at craft shows. And it's just worked out tremendously. 1.5, 2, and 3 pound sizes. It's long hours, long drives. You can go on the website and all the tins we have offered are on there, 11-hour days. Just standing on your feet. We start with a 1/4 pound bag.
The hard work pays off.
Oh, it's delicious.
Delicious.
I'll buy one because I know what that tastes like.
Between the first and the second year, we had like 175% growth. So we did about 3 times as much the second year as we did the first year.
Almond English toffee, so nice.
But the Rosses become concerned about the craft fairs being their only source of customers.
Doing craft shows is a risk. What if there's a snowstorm next weekend? Nobody's coming. You've already paid the money for the booth. You may already be in town in a hotel. You've lost that money and you've lost the income. So we can't, family of 7, 1 on the way. We can't afford to risk that.
The Rosses need to diversify and expand production, but their living and their workspace is already bursting at the seams. Growth has repercussions they're not ready to deal with.
To take it out of the house, I would say, is to take one of us out of it, because one of us would have to be here with the kids.
Even though craft fairs are keeping Toffee House afloat, Don and Laura are afraid to leave all their eggs in one basket. The venture is too important to the family's future. They know that to get to where they want to be with the company, they have to diversify.
It would be nice to think, oh, we're just going to do this and do it forever, but it's not reality. It's not reality with business. It's not reality with their customers.
The reality that Don and Laura face is that they must diversify to grow. So they sell their toffee to a local gift basket company.
Let's go with 2 dozen of those.
Okay.
Add a new product, toffee-filled chocolates, and go after corporate business.
It's going to be based on assets under management and how many clients they have.
Pitching their toffee as a perfect holiday gift.
I'm going to give her a list of things.
Laura's brother-in-law, Bill Swart, uses the off-season from his landscaping business to help.
Right now I'm preparing letters to go out like September and October, and then we're going to send samples out and then do a follow-up. Like most companies make up their minds in September and October.
And they put it out once a year?
Using a directory published by the Pittsburgh Business Times, they create a list of potential customers. They won't know if the corporate gifts will take off until the holiday season, when orders will come in.
Fold these in half for me.
But if it does, Bill will share in the profits. Until then, he's just happy to help.
We probably couldn't do this business if we didn't have the family and friends we had.
Thank you, Tom.
Family sometimes will take the kids.
Hi, girl.
Friends of ours will take the girls to ballet if we just can't get out, and especially during the busy season.
Corporate sales are a whole other game for the Rosses. To compete for that kind of business, they have to create a professional look. Don hires himself as photographer, and at first, he's not much of a success.
When I would take the shots, it would be far away. You'd see the table and the plate, and then way down there you see, oh, what's that, toffee? With this digital camera, I was able to set it with macro to where I could be within, a few inches of the product and take the pictures that way.
3 years after starting their business, they're making $104,000 in sales, a 27% increase over the year before. They're supporting their family, but not building a future. And they're running out of room for both their family and their business. But taking the business out of the home is not an option.
To take it out of the house, I would say, is to take one of us out of it, because one of us would have to be here with the kids. And I think that's hard. I think part of why this works for us is we work really, really long hours. 3 months out of the year, we're from the time we wake up till the time we go to sleep, but we're with each other.
To keep it in the house, they'll have to move.
There's an office here.
The ideal situation for us would be to get a house that has a basement where all of the toffee production, all of the toffee storage, all of the supplies are on one floor.
Okay, Dawn, this is the kitchen here.
Then you've got electric. You don't have any gas coming to the house at all?
There's not gas. You would have to drop a propane tank to have gas here.
And we actually could have living space that was like a real house above that.
Getting a little real living space is only one goal for Don and Laura.
Our plan is to have it a family business, is to continue to grow it as a family business.
That requires not only keeping the company alive, but keeping it growing, something the couple is determined to do.
I still feel like the market is so huge for us that we've barely hit the surface.
Toffee House sales have increased 45% over last year. After overhead, the Ross's income nearly matches Don's former salary. Toffee House is doing so well they're considering wholesaling, and the Rosses are in the process of buying a new 7-bedroom, 5,000 square foot home. That's 3 times the size of their last house. And not a moment too soon, since baby number 8 will soon be joining Toffee House. I'm Eric McClendon. Thanks for watching.